Uh, I debated about whether or not to just wait a little bit on this review until my emotions were a little bit more in check, and I thought, nah, I didn't do that with the Boston review. I watched tonight as Boston fell behind in the second period here, 4-1, and then all the goonery happens, or 3-1 in the second period, and then all the goonery happens in the third. In this game here, Vancouver falls behind 4-1, and they didn't resort to punching. They didn't resort to trying to send a message. They decided we'll just come back and win it, like almost like Happy Gilmore style. You know how he's way too many shots behind with 9 holes left, and yet he magically wins. And I just, this is one of those games. This is one of those games we're going to remember. This is why I love playoff hockey. I absolutely love it, and as heartbreaking as it felt like tonight was going to be, and maybe the Canucks don't win this series for tonight, this is one of those games I'm going to remember. It's one of those games I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, that I'm going to be like, you know what? That game against the Oilers, and there's so many things in this game that decisions I thought were head scratchers, and we'll go through the game here, but man, anyways, Skinner versus Shelovs in this one. Teams trade turnovers. Too many Canucks on the ice 40 seconds in. Not a great start. It was a smart move by the Oilers, though, to throw the puck towards the bench, knowing there were too many Canucks on the ice. Good call. So there's an early clear. The Oilers cycle. Puck's cleared. Then the Oilers cycle. There's a shorthanded rush by Cole. Draisaitl has a shot that's saved. There's a cycle, and then they score. Hyman buries one on a cross-ice pass. Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl with the assists at 2 minutes and 11 seconds, and it was only the second shot of the game for the Oilers. So a lot of red flags there if you're a Canuck fan. And after coming out of that series against Nashville, we know the Oilers are going to be a better scoring team than Nashville, and the Canucks are going to need more than the 20 shots per game they recorded against Nashville, which they barely topped tonight, to be honest. So the Oilers look for another. Suter has a rush chance, that saved. McDavid fires one wide on a 3-on-2 rush. Garland's denied on a breakaway. Felt like he was never going to get a goal in these playoffs. Thankfully, he did tonight. Canucks have a 3-on-2 that's broken up. The Canucks press at 6 minutes. Draisaitl has a shot that's saved. The Oilers press afterwards. Shots are 4-1 for the Oilers at 7 minutes. Garland has a net feed that gets picked off. The Oilers press at 8.5 minutes. Ekholm's denied there. Canucks get pinned down for a bit. The shots are 6-1 at the half in favor of the Oilers. So it definitely felt like the Oilers had full control of the game at that point. Canucks press with 8 minutes left. There's a stick save on Hronek. Mikheyev has a shot that's held. There's some pushing. And then after a Cole turnover, Ekholm wires one from the point at 15:01. Draisaitl with the assist. So not a great night for Cole overall, but yeah, that was the 2-0 goal. And it kind of took the air out of the building. The Oilers then press for another. Bouchard has a shot that's saved. The rebound's cleared. The fans call one. The referee does not. There's a post for Mikheyev as the Canucks press, because Mikheyev's not allowed to get goals. The Canucks press in the final minute. Myers has a shot that deflects wide. The Oilers get pinned down a bit, but the clock saves them. That runs out. It's 2-0 Edmonton after 1. And all I could think was, well, yeah, the Oilers, really good team in the regular season, on a really strong pace in the second half of the year, especially after the coaching change early in the year. I mean, I want the Canucks to win, but hey. So second period, early press by the Canucks are kept to the outside. Zadorov has a shot that's held, and then off the face-off win, Dakota Joshua. Right? Dakota Joshua scores from Cole and Lindholm at 53 seconds. So Cole kind of gets his game back there and gets a point there. And then the Canucks look to tie it. There's a net feed to Mikheyev, near miss. Things are pushy in a hole by Shelovs. There's Skinner chance. You know what? Go for it. Absolutely, go for it. Chance Skinner to your heart's content. I'm not gonna say anything, because as soon as they did that, and I wrote it on the board, Skinner then plays it outside the trapezoid. Yep, that's a penalty. So that gives the Canucks a power play. That leads to a shorthanded rush by Foegele. The Canucks struggle to set it up. Then there's a shorthanded rush by Janmark. Power play's killed off, one shot. The Oilers' penalty kill is perfect in the playoffs and stays perfect through this game as well. Shots are 4-2 for the Canucks at 7.5 minutes. Mikheyev's denied and close. The Oilers rush. Ekholm has a net feed. That's held. Ekholm then gets his stick caught in Joshua's helmet. The Canuck fans wanted a call for that, but I believe it was a follow-through on a shot. So at the very least, he's not hurt on the play. It just ends up being one of those things that'll get shown on highlight reels and blooper packages for the next 10 years. Lafferty then has a net drive that nearly deflects in, and then at 12:26, against the flow of play, CC just wires one from the point. Ryan and Nugent Hopkins with the assist, and that's at 12:26 to make it 3-1. So that kind of takes the air out of the building again, and that one goes in off Ian Cole. So like I said, he had himself a bit of a tough night. Miller nearly answers, but then at 13:11, Hyman goes 5-hole. I know there's a bit of a deflection there. You really need a save there. That was not a good goal by Shelovs. Bouchard and McDavid with the assists. I expected DeSmith to go in there. I was like, you know what? That's 4 goals on. At that point, I think it was 14 shots. That was the 14th shot. I think that was the last shot they got in that second period too. And I felt like, okay, so you got it. Shelovs has had a good run, but you put into Smith and look for a change. Rick Tocchet, to his credit, did not take Shelovs out of the net, even though I think Canuck fans would have been fine with it there. We get a power play for the Canucks. There's an early clear. The Oilers then rag the puck. They cycle. There's a near miss then by Pettersson. It's cleared on the next face-off. Besser can't bury one, and then another clear ends that power play. Fogle has a shot that's blocked as the Oilers now look for another. They're up 4-1. They're looking for a fifth. Joshua to Garland, there's a near miss. And then on a bit of a Canucks bounce, it goes in off Skinner's stick. Lindholm gets the goal. Joshua and Soucy with the assists at 17:01. Again, Elias Lindholm looked really good tonight for the Canucks. Trades worked out when he's scoring in the playoffs, right? So the Oilers look to respond. Besser has a one-timer. That's blocked out. Draisaitl exits on a quick shift, and it was clear that he was hurt. So he leaves the bench. He comes back for like a little quick shift, and he leaves again. He came back for the third period. I don't think he's 100%. You could see in the third period he was avoiding contact a little bit. So after the second period, it's 4-2 for the Oilers. And again, I'm not expecting a comeback. I'm like, you know what? The Canucks have had a good response to being down 4-1. If they have a good third period, and then just try to build into the second game, right? So third period, Shelovs was still in. I thought that was noteworthy because I had expected DeSmith to start the third period. But again, Tocchet giving him a chance to play the full 60. And I think it worked. The Canucks did a good job of protecting the net in the third period. Draisaitl again on the bench. Hyman has a shot that deflects out. Zadorov has a shot that's kicked aside. Kane fires one high on a 2-on-1 rush. Hronek to Pettersson, near miss. Pettersson's still fighting the puck, but at least he had some chances tonight. Janmark with a near miss. The Oilers press at 3.5 minutes, but the shots are 3-0 Canucks at 4.5 minutes. Lindholm fires one wide on a rush. Garland can't bury one. Puck's cleared out. Hughes fires one wide as the Canucks press. McDavid has a net drive that's defended. The Canucks did a good job of defending on McDavid without taking penalties. We then get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. McDavid has a net drive that's defended. There's a near miss for Nugent Hopkins. He hits a post from right next to the net. And then JT Miller at 9:38 scores for the Canucks from Besser and Soucy. He buries that one from the side of the net. That was towards the end of the 4-on-4. JT Miller, absolute hero to Canucks fans. And again, that's why you didn't trade him last year. Canucks then get a power play. They cycle. Hughes fires one wide. There's more cycling. There's a blocker save on Miller. Puck's cleared out. Lindholm has a wrist shot that's caught and held. The Oilers clear. And again, they kill that off 2 shots on net. I was concerned a bit that maybe that would hurt the Canucks' momentum, that the Oilers would get a boost from that penalty kill. And then Hyman to Draisaitl gets blocked. So there was the potential there, right? Kane then has a wraparound that's blocked. And then Zadorov blasts one past a screen and he scores to tie it. Nikita Zadorov, the scoring beast of the playoffs. We all expected the goals from the point to be from Zadorov in these playoffs, right? Not Quinn Hughes? Sure we did. Bluger and Höglander with the assists at 13:47, and I'm completely beside myself at that point. I'm like, now it's tied. Now what? So the Oilers look to respond, but at 14:26, Garland buries one from a sharp angle. Now, announcers say it was a really nice shot, and it kind of was, but still, you probably want Skinner to save that if you're an Oilers fan. Joshua and Zadorov with the assists. Suddenly the Canucks have a lead, and my nerves went from, like after the first, I wasn't nervous, I was just disappointed, which of course, if you're a kid and your parent says, I'm not upset, I'm just disappointed, the worst thing you can hear. And if it was, and it was 4-2 after the second, I was still like, well, you know, at least they showed some fight back and they didn't have to goon it up. But yeah, then they're ahead 5-4, and I don't know how I feel. I'm like, if the Oilers tie this up and force overtime, I might need some meds. So the Oilers look to respond again. Don't do any meds, kids. Don't. Even if your doctor says you just smack that out of his hand. No to that. I'm kidding, of course. So the Oilers look to respond, but they're kept to the outside. And the Canucks did a very good job of blocking out the net in the third period. Kane has a rush chance that's saved. Fogle misses one high on a rush with 2:09 left. The Canucks ice the puck. Who was it that went back for that icing? Were they skating in porridge? Like, I will say this: when a defender comes back and they just go really kind of slow to get that icing call, I get it, but I'm kind of surprised when they bite on it. I remember noticing that in the 80s. So this is nothing new to hockey. This is not. I don't think it's dirty. I don't think it's a bad play. It's a good play, and it works in that situation. I just thought if he skates a little faster, puck probably doesn't cross the goal line. So that means the goalie gets pulled, and I pull my hair out. I would if I had any, but I don't. And at any rate, the Canucks hold on. They win this one 5-4. They're ahead 1-0 in the series. I don't know how I feel right now. It's like pride, but kind of like I just because it's only the first game, right? It's only the first game. I'm well aware it's only the first game. Maybe the Oilers come out in the next game and they win 12-0. I don't know. All I know is the Canucks won at home. Nobody gave them a chance in this series, and nobody will coming out of this game either, is my guess. But yeah, shots on net 10-5 Oilers in the first, and then the Canucks run the game 11-4 in the second and 8-2 in the third. So despite the Oilers getting a lot of zone time in the third, they only had 2 shots on net. Final shots 24-16 for Vancouver. And again, if Draisaitl's hurt, that's going to affect the Oilers going forward. Absolutely. Power plays, the Oilers scored on the only power play they had. The Canucks have to stay out of the box. 0 for 3 for the Canucks. The hits 35-31 for Vancouver. Skinner, rough night for him, 19 saves on 24 shots. Rough night for Shelovs too, but he won. 13 saves on 17 shots. So the Canucks defended the net well. They only allowed 6 shots after the first period. I love that. And this is why, with that series against Nashville, the shots were so low. Everybody focused on the Canucks not getting shots, but that's the style of hockey they were playing. It was defense, defense, defense. They're trying to do that against the Oilers, but we know the Oilers can score in bunches, so we're probably going to see high scores in this series with low shot totals. But we'll see how the second game goes. I'm kind of happy right now. So after what was kind of a rough night in the first game, I'm kind of happy after the second. It's better to be happy after the second than to have a rough second game. But there you go. I was very concerned. I was like, man, I have to watch Dallas have the meltdown they had, and then Boston with a meltdown, and now the Canucks too. I was like, man, this could be rough. But this game turned out pretty well. So we'll see how game 2 works for the Canucks. But I'm going to add too, they had the Abbotsford Canucks game scheduled at the exact same time because that was brilliant. And so nobody was at the Abbotsford game. Yvonne took the kids to the Abbotsford game, and she said people were just grabbing whatever seat because there were so many empty seats. She said it was the most empty she's seen since the snowstorm we had, where most of the fans just stayed home, and her and I were actually surprised they didn't cancel that game anyways, or at the very least just delay it. But yeah, the arena was almost empty. And it looks like I watched little parts of Dynamite too for wrestling fans just to see, and I heard "Let's Go Oilers" chants during like an emotional sort of promo by a wrestler, and I was like, oh man, this scheduling is just so weird. And there was a lot of black in that arena. I think a lot of Oiler fans decided not to go to Dynamite. Maybe you had a ticket to the Dynamite show and you're like, you know what, I want to watch the Oilers game instead. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. This series is going to be wild. So I'm going to say this too. I am so grateful for each and every one of you that watch these videos, because Shannon Skanes of the old times, of way back when, before I had a channel, I would have turned this off after the second period. I would have been like, you know, that was a good comeback, but probably not going to come back in the third. I would have played some Grand Theft Auto, something like that. You know, maybe watched a movie or gone for a bike ride or something like that. Nope, I have to watch the games now, and I watched a great comeback. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for helping the channel get to where it is. And I forced myself to watch these games and not be so much of a stick in the mud. So there you go. Thank you guys. Greatly appreciated. This is a game I'm going to remember for a very long time, no matter what happens the rest of this series. Part of it is, you know what, at least we don't have to hear, oh, well, they got swept by the Oilers, right? So, I mean, and they showed some fight back here. So, respect is earned, not given, and I think they earned it tonight. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. As always, I will talk to you again soon.